Hello, in this video we'll be using my test account to show you how we would set up the blind cleaning package and module for from start to finish. So first thing we're going to do is go to settings and head over to services, and when you get over to services you'll see that some modules are active and some modules are inactive. In this case the blind cleaning module is actually inactive. Now I don't mind setting up a module while it's inactive, so I'm going to go ahead and proceed from here. And the first thing you'll see is that you can change the name, the nickname we call it, of this bidding service, and a description. You'll also notice that we're using the individual items. Sometimes people offer a good, better, and best option, so you could turn on as many options and as many value propositions as you'd like. For example, you might say that this is just to get the dust off of them, and maybe this one you'll further take off any caked on residue, and maybe add another line item. Maybe there's some sort of dust insurance or something. Either way, you can do that if you'd like. For me, this is one of the very few times in ResponsiBid where the individual item makes the most sense, and you'll want to have a description of what your cleaning process would look like. This is going to be seen in the proposal. And once you've got that set up and you've decided how you want to do it, in the individual items, you'll notice that there will only be one pricing area, where if we turn on multiple packages, the number of packages you enable will determine how many different pricing options you're given for those packages. So let's head on over to step 2, which is where we're going to set our questions up. Now, there is an option that will be disabled by default that you can turn on, and if you have a little help video for people to watch as they're getting a bid for blind cleaning, for example, how to count blinds or something to that effect, this is not going to be a very much of a marketing video, although I'm sure that you could do some marketing in it. This is more of a how-to video, and then you would just select from one of our video service options, and then just put the URL of the video in here. And by doing that, right at the very top of the form, there will be the option for your customer to be able to watch a video to help them as they are answering questions. Now, you can see here that this is not going to make a lot of sense, because as the customer's filling out the form, we don't want them to see small blinds / regular blinds. We would want to probably set it up more along the lines of small, comma, first we have to edit it. So click on the edit button and enable editing. And we would probably go somewhere to the effect of small regular blinds. And then we can edit this one as well. Now, what is a regular blind? That is a great question. That is what you would define here. Again, it's very important. The reason these things come up is that we don't want you changing what something means. We just want you to maybe change what it says. For example, as I'm going in here and changing the words, and if I'm going to change the image, I definitely don't want to go through and start putting different images or words to change the effect of all the past bids that I've given using the same field. But in the case of small, there's another situation. I can correct all the way across the board that it says small regular blinds, and that means the same thing that it did before. But if I go around and start, for example, deleting things, so in this case I would want it small blinds blind cleaning 2, this stuff makes no sense. I want to get rid of all of that stuff. So I would just simply enable the editing, and I would delete it, and it would ask if I'm sure. And effectively, not only will no bid in the future be given, but if somebody has a bid that's been given and they never said they had any to begin with, then that item won't show up. It will show up for people who said they had that item before, but only for people who said that they did have those. So next thing is images. If you want to put the images in, you would just simply select the image, and you would define what a regular blind is. A regular blind is made of wood or a material that looks like wood. And save that. Now you can see that this description here is now showing up next to it. I'm not going to put you through the deletion of all of this, but we'll go ahead and go to step 3, where you'll see that small regular blinds, I'm charging $8 per, $15 for the medium regular, and 22. Again, all of these I'm going to end up deleting. They were just a test experiment. And in the step 4 area, this is where you might determine that you want to have an area minimum that you would set up in your settings form builder. And in that area, in your service areas, you'll determine what these area minimums are, and then you also might have a trip charge set up. And if that's the case, then you might want to add the trip charge to every bid, and you may want to say there's a house size minimum, which also would be set up in that form builder. Or you might just say you want to put a dollar minimum associated with this bid. So you can turn on anything that you'd like. You can enable volume discounts for that. And you can say that if someone wants a blind cleaning bid, they must say they have at least one of those. And in this case, if I click Do Not Prompt Customer, what that means is that the customer will be charged for one regular blind one small blind at minimum, even if they say they have 0. Same would be said if I had 5. If I say 5 and the customer says they have 3, then they'll be charged for 5 no matter what, until they exceed 5, and then they'll be charged for more. If I turn that off, what will happen is if the customer says they have 4, then there will be a little warning that comes up before they can move on that says you must have more than 5 or greater of this. So that's how that works. And then the other thing you can do is you can say that the total quantity must be a certain amount. So in this case, if I say that they must have at least one blind, that means that whenever someone goes to get a quote, they will be prompted, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. Here's the bid disclaimer for when the bid goes through, and here is what happens if it comes out bid in person. You're probably wondering, since I didn't cover that. In step 3, when I'm setting the prices, I can set that price to be either to charge for it, to ignore it, and basically just count how many but not charge. That would be kind of silly. Or I could say, for example, a large blind, maybe I don't want to charge 22, maybe I want that to be bid in person. So let's go ahead and test this out. If we go over to the smart form, you'll see that when I click on blind cleaning, I have to activate it first. Go back to services, make active. Okay, so now when I set it up so that you have to do blind cleaning, make active modules. Okay, so now what happens is when you go in here, they'll put in their information, whatever you're requiring. Some things you will, some things you won't. Now you can see that here's where my image is that I put up. Here's my description of what a regular blind is. And also you can see that if I click continue, which I need to get rid of all those, but you can see that it says, hey, you must have at least one or more of these items. So I'm going to go ahead and say I have one large blind, just so you can see what that looks like. And when I click continue, it's going to let me go. But when I submit this bid, if I was to put in all my information, I would not see any prices. I would just get to the part where it says that this must be bid in person. Now, when that happens, you would just go into the customer, and you would, let's see if I have an item here. Here's blind cleaning. If I was to say, here's what it would look like. See, I deleted these items. So this item's been deleted, but this customer had 2, so we're going ahead and showing those. But if I rerun this quote, now with the bid in person, you'll see that when I click this open, hey, they said they had 2 of these, and you used to charge $22, but what do you want to charge for this? Maybe I'll say that those 2 blinds are going to go for $50. And now when I save the quote, you can see that it went ahead and let it through. And so there's my $16, there's my $30, there's my $50, and then all the other items that I charge for until I turn these off or get rid of them. So that's why that works out that way. I hope that makes sense, and of course if you have any questions, never hesitate to chat with us on the chat button, and happy ResponsiBidding.